If you want to work in this industry, growing is not an option. And how do we grow? We do not grow without feedback.
Yeah.
Honest feedback, permission-based feedback. Getting feedback is not an option, but how you receive feedback is an option.
I lead with maybe a toxic level of curiosity, and I'll have this radical amount of responsibility of what could have we done better. When we accept feedback within the classroom, when we start to model that level of openness, our students begin to do the same. Feedback is literally the way that we keep moving forward.
Podclass acknowledges the traditional and true custodians of the land we meet on here today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We're grateful to be here.
So no one told you teaching was gonna be this way. Your lesson plans are jokes, your patience broke, you're feeling in disarray. It's like you're always stuck in report writing, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your school year. But I'll be here for you.
When the students start to riot,
I'll be here for you.
even if your coffee has gone cold,
I'll be here for you, 'cause you're there for them too.
Hello. Welcome back to Podclass.
welcome back.
You are joined, as always, by myself, Amanda,
Me, Will.
and our beautiful other third, Sky, is with her beautiful baby Max.
But I have news. I think that from down, I've heard she might be coming back soon.
Ooh,
We're not too sure, but we'll play it by ear.
I love how I act dumb, like Sky's my best friend. I'm like, ooh, really?
Oh, good.
This is the one about feedback.
I want to start off with a story, and Amanda doesn't know I'm going to share this story. But in
gosh,
2023,
is it about me?
Amanda joined the national tour team.
Yes.
And that year, our tour team took a new level up. And that's because on the first day of tour, what Amanda took us through was this process of addressing very early on, obviously, we're going to spend a lot of time together. How do we receive feedback? And everyone answered for themselves. And how do you want to receive feedback? And how do you want to give feedback? And what did that do to the team?
I think it was incredible. I think feedback, I love the quote that feedback is the breakfast of champions. And I think feedback is a really interesting one to unpack because the word itself makes most people feel nervous or jitter just at the sound of it.
100%.
And the thing is that if you are listening to this podcast, if you are working in the youth space, if you are in a school or an organization or a local council or leading a movement, growth is not an option. And how do we grow? We do not grow without feedback.
Yeah.
Honest feedback, permission-based feedback. I think for many of us, and we can all reflect on a time when we have been burnt by how someone has gone about feedback.
The delivery of it, right?
100%. The delivery, the approach, if it was ego-driven, if it was in an inappropriate time or place or situation, we have all been burnt without a doubt by feedback at one time or another. So we are on a mission, both of us, to change that, to change the way we see feedback, change the way we give feedback, and change the way we receive feedback to elevate. What's that saying that all
Tides rise all boats.
all tides rise all boats?
Paraphrasing, but it's something like that. Like if we weren't in this business of the youth space, I'm pretty sure we'd be in the space of feedback. Youth Feedback Project, Young Feedback Academy, because of how much we live and breathe feedback in every single element, right?
And maybe we should give an example of how much it means to us.
Okay.
Like if we go back to that same tour, and thank you for sharing that about how we set it up from the beginning. And I do think, first of all, we have a responsibility as leaders of others to never just dive in with feedback without having had a conversation or setting a frame for how we receive it and how we give it.
Yeah.
We love the saying at Youth Engagement Project that getting feedback is not an option, but how you receive feedback is an option. And that's where permission-based strategies come into play. And I truly believe that. If you want to work in this industry, getting feedback is not an option. Growing is not an option. How you receive it is your choice.
And it's also your ability, if you're a business leader in any business, It's the way that you stay ahead. It's the way that you move forward. It's the way that you grow your organization and your impact in whatever way. It's literally through feedback in every single element.
Yeah. And I think in schools, we can get really nervous when people are maybe doing observations or they're doing learning walks, or where we have our growth plans and that we're receiving feedback on if we're in an organization. And it can be a really nerve-wracking experience. And my fear is that our hesitancy to feedback will roll into how we're leading young people. And I think we have to be setting up growth and seeking to grow and improve and be better, which looks like and sounds like feedback in our classrooms as well and in our programs as well. It's about how we go about it. It's about how we set it up.
And I think I lead with maybe a toxic level of curiosity around feedback, of when someone says, like, maybe gives us some critical feedback, I will never push blame, no matter what it is, onto that person. And I'll have this radical amount of responsibility of what could have we done better, which sometimes isn't the case, I don't think.
Yeah. I actually really resonate with that, and I think I'm quite similar. And I'm reminded of a time when we had run an event in Melbourne, and it was a large-scale event. It was a YLAR event, and we get feedback from all of the teachers. It is so important to us, every single event, both in YLAR and in YEP. And we took that feedback, we gathered it up, and we hightailed it to the airport. We had a flight that night to Perth, and we were on that flight. We'd run 2 events in Melbourne on a Monday and a Tuesday. It was a Tuesday night. We're on a flight to Perth.
We left early. The rest of the team stayed behind to bump out.
To pack up. And because we were running similar events in Perth at the Perth Convention Centre on the Wednesday, Thursday. So on that flight, we are exhausted. We have 4 days in a row. And what were we doing on that flight, sitting there?
Every single piece of feedback got flipped over. We read it from top to bottom, and we wrote notes on what we were going to iterate and improve for tomorrow.
And we're editing the slides, we're editing the content, we're editing timing pieces within the bounds of the program and of the delivery, because we take that feedback so seriously. And
then implemented it. The team landed in Perth. We took them through the changes that we had made so that everyone was across it. And why, of course.
And I think that is next level probably. However, these are large scale events. I think for us on the ground, maybe in classrooms or in programs, it doesn't necessarily look like that. But I think if there's one thing to take away from this conversation, it's just about a self check-in on how we feel about feedback is really powerful. And if we work with someone who dives in and gives feedback in a way that makes us uncomfortable or makes us feel wrong or makes us feel less than, that needs addressing in a gentle way. And I say gentle because it's really challenging to address that with a manager or a leader. And we need to set up a frame, because we cannot expect people to follow invisible guidelines. We cannot expect people to follow invisible frameworks. So if we just have a blanket statement, feedback is important, and we don't have a structure for implementing it that the team knows about and is aware of, how's that going to look? And probably chaotic.
100%. And when we're in the classroom, we'll talk YLAR, then classroom. So YLAR, even for student feedback, right, is the most important for us. Unfortunately, not fortunately, but unfortunately, is like our teachers obviously buy the tickets, they invest their school budgets and resources, and we have to serve them, but also our students are our core audience who we are serving.
Of course.
So getting their feedback is just as important, but modeling that from stage is one of our biggest takeaways from the event as well, is that leaders are learners. And when we accept feedback within the classroom, when we start to model that level of openness, our students begin to do the same, because regardless of whatever, your students are getting a report at the end of the year that has feedback through it. But how do they respond to it depends on how they've been shown to respond to feedback.
Absolutely. So I think if we are wanting to enhance how we give feedback, how we receive feedback, our mindset about feedback, where do we start, Will?
I think the first one is the permission-based and understanding what it is or how it is that someone in your team or your classroom likes to receive feedback or needs to receive feedback. And on a classroom scale, it's obviously going to be very different across 20 of them. However, the conversation could be, can we co-design as a classroom how we would like to receive feedback at the end of every week or whatever it may be. And then maybe it's sticky notes of like, or maybe it's on a show of hands, like, how are you feeling about this subject or this topic?
Or maybe it's peer-to-peer feedback at different times. But we have to set the frame of that creates safety to then be able to operate within it. So once we've set that frame, permission-based is important. And I think the language that is used and the tone that is used is crucial.
Which is why like such an easy way to be able to get that there is with sentence starters, right? We're not going to be like, it's not going to be, what could be better? What do we need to do? What was bad, right? We're going to be, what are areas that I could grow in?
Or what are opportunities for growth?
Yeah, 100%. And whether it be a self-reflection or reflection on someone else, like they're just as important too.
And regardless of how someone likes to receive feedback, I would actually go as far to say that I would never have a feedback conversation with someone that was purely opportunities for growth. We always, even if they are hungry for them, even if they're someone that has a mindset that's just hungry for the plus ones and how to upskill, we are always going to acknowledge something that was superb as well. Because it's just, we can't have that deficit frame.
Subconsciously, we're going to help them out.
No matter what, you can always find a strength in what you're observing. You can always find a strength in how something unfolded. You can also always find an opportunity for growth.
100%. So that's giving feedback, receiving feedback, some guidelines.
Mindset,
100%. How can you grow? It's almost like I view it as a present. It's like the best thing. For me, feedback is literally the best thing in the world, right? And you're very similar.
I mean, we're
and likely why we're here right now.
Probably.
Because feedback is literally the way that we keep moving forward.
We were on a plane last night and I turned to you and I said, Will, you're one of the few people that can see certain blind spots in me. Always tell me. And I just like reiterated to you, always tell me my blind spots. Like every time I want to know, I'm hungry for it. So I think mindset, and you don't have to be hungry for it, but mindset, having a growth mindset is important, because without that, we're in a victim mindset. And in a victim mindset, all we see is what we did wrong. And it's not about that. We have to step back. It's not personal. It's not about us. It's about enhancing our impact in what we're doing. We cannot get better and better and better and have greater and greater and greater outcomes without growth.
No.
And feedback is a crucial part of that.
And I think one more element that you can do is just normalize it. And the way that you normalize it is through regular feedback, right? When it's so normal now within Tour, within Yep, whatever it may be, for feedback to be happening every single day.
And I would love to say on that, sorry, you go first.
I was going to say prioritize it.
Yeah.
Too, because it's so easy to be like, oh, we don't have time today.
It has to be prioritized. And I would love to say on that last point, if you are a leader, one way you can help normalize it is through showing you're human, showing your areas that you're working on, being transparent with your team. I'm currently working on growing my skills in X, or I noticed the other week I could improve in Y, and here's how I'm going to do it. And that allows the whole team to kind of take a sigh and be like, oh, great. Everyone's always improving. It's not just us.
Exactly, 100%. And never forget to celebrate them pieces of awareness for both when you're receiving feedback and you're also giving feedback, as well as someone's giving feedback to themselves. Like celebrate that so much so.
Embrace feedback. It is the answer to growth.
We are Podclass and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
I'll be here for you, 'cause you're there for them too.
Thanks so much for tuning into Podclass. If you've enjoyed this episode, we would adore it if you could go on to Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to your podcasts, and leave us a review. 5 stars would be lovely. We would love to get this podcast into as many ears as possible so we can help and support as many people as possible who help young people. And if you're not already doing so, please go along to Instagram and follow us at podclass.aus.